E3 recordings that we're doing here. This one is specifically on the PC Gaming Show that was hosted by AMD and PC Gamer. I am Jim Surback, running as your host, and I also have with me as a guest...
It's Quirky. Yeah, I'm making my return.
Quirky is making his return. And I think, actually, this is the first time you and I have ever... This might be the first time we've ever actually been on a podcast together.
Yeah. I think it actually is. And I'm glad... That's the magic of E3. It brings people together and to showcase games and to make us all dreamy and hopeful.
Bringing us together. There you go. So that's what we're going to get out of this.
Thank you, games.
Thank you, games. But since we're going to talk about gaming, we're going to talk about gaming. I'm going to start out by saying I think that the AMD PC gaming show here was overall was pretty underwhelming. I don't know if this... Well, I heard this is not their first time at the show, but this was a really weak presentation. They had no engaging guests except for Cliffy B, who had some interesting things to say. But the dude sitting at the desk and having some rather staged interviews, if you'll allow a bad pun, was underwhelming and somewhat cringeworthy. And the video quality straight looked like it was out of the 80s.
In my opinion, the host... He made a few good jokes, but he just trying too hard. My opinion.
Definitely not the engaging personality that you'll want to have at E3.
He's no Aisha Tyler. I'll tell you that.
Nope. No. Certainly not. I missed a little bit of the beginning and the end of the show, so I'm only going to talk about what I know that I saw.
We'll say this, we did miss the end of the PC Gamer show because the Ubisoft presentation was starting as well, so...
Right.
They sort of interlocked with each other, so that was a bit... Let's talk about games.
Games. The first game I saw, and you can tell me if there was something before this, was Giant Cop.
Oh, Giant Cop. Oh! The way the introducer, or the host, I can't remember his name, introduced it, he said, I'll give you 2 words, and then you can figure it out. Giant Cop. And then they showed a trailer, which pretty much, I think it's a VR game. Like, they didn't really say it was a VR game, but it's pretty much just you as this giant cop, like a huge giant cop, and just, you're picking up, solving mysteries, and chucking people out. Like, there's one level where you clear a nudist beach of all the nudists, and then there's another level where they showed off where there was a protest with all these, like, hippie figures, and so... They got the giant cop to pick up a flaming, like a huge tanker truck, and they just threw it at the hippies and blew them up. It was like it looks like a fun VR game, but I haven't had any experience with the current gen of VR, so I don't know what to expect from it.
I mean, it really to me looks just like a VR showcase kind of thing. Honest to God, I honestly thought it looked really stupid. I just didn't have
fun.
Everybody's got their own taste. It didn't strike a chord with me, which is totally okay. I mean, the different games for different people. I mean, you're just 2 giant hands and a pair of glasses, and you're a giant cop. And in the way they keep saying it on stage, it sounds like they're saying giant cock. So I don't know if it was, again, with a really crappy presentation that AMD had. But yeah, that's that. That's all I got to say about it, unless there's something more.
No. I mean, just this general PC gaming show, we're just going to put it out there. It was a lot about updates to current games, like for Arma, Warframe, Killing Floor 2 was another one.
Super Hot.
Super Hot. They just announced that it was... Wait, was it an update, or were they just announcing that it was going to VR?
Super Hot VR is what they're calling it. I didn't really play the original Super Hot, but I saw Rooster Teeth's videos on it. Yeah. But this one actually looked interesting. I will give them credit for that. This actually looked interesting. Much more interesting than Giant Cop did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I played Super Hot. It's a good game for the way, the creative mechanics that they put in the game, and I'm really looking forward to see how they put that into the game. But like I said, I haven't got VR, so I can't test it. So
Right. The game they showed after Giant Cop was Lawbreakers, which is another game that I felt was a bit underwhelming, but they said that they're going to do an alpha of it, so it's not even at the alpha stage yet. So what we saw was just kind of there to drum up hype for the franchise. Cliffy B came on stage and talked about it a little bit, and he said that they wanted to design a living product with their fans. Okay. And they felt it was the future and where 2016 was going to go the gaming industry beyond.
Okay, so it's pretty much an Overwatch clone. But
right.
The way Cliffy B said it, and I quote, Overwatch is Street Fighter. This will be the Mortal Kombat of that. Now, from what I saw from the trailer, I didn't see any gore. There wasn't any fatalities, so I don't know. I mean, again, like I said, we just have to play it and make our own judgments. But from my scene, it was just an Overwatch clone, and
yeah. I mean, I'm not huge on Overwatch. I played the beta and it was nice enough, but not nice enough for me to buy it. So he used the term westernized Overwatch, and that there was going to be some foul language and some gore, but not extreme amounts of it. But he did seem like he had tangible enthusiasm for the franchise, so that gives me some degree of hope.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything like what he did for Gears of War, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, the next thing that they talked about at the show was esports. Hooray, esports is alive and it makes a lot of money, people. Congratulations.
Hey, that's sort of my second job, but whatever. They got Yahoo Esports to do a whole segment about that.
That's really where I was going. It's like, esports is a big deal and it deserves recognition, but not with Yahoo.
Well, Yahoo only just opened the esports division, and same with ESPN Esports. And plus they got well-known League of Legends figure Travis Gafford over from, I think it was GameSpot. Yeah, GameSpot is where he used to work at, and that's pretty much they were just saying, esports, it's a great thing, like how they got into it, but there wasn't like anything to follow up on that. Like the only thing that followed up was AMD showing off their new graphics card, which was designed for esports.
Right.
But that was about it.
They went straight into the Polaris hype after that.
Yeah, the AMD Polaris hype. We'll say that with AMD, they have to compete with NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA just released the
1080 and the 1070. Yep.
Yeah, and what she said, she was the CEO Lisa. They showed off true graphics card, which they said that they were going for the $100 to $300 US market. So for the lower end game market, which they kicked off with a demonstration of Doom running on the Polaris GPU cards, which to me I couldn't really tell. It just there's no really way of showing that it was in the for all we know, there could have been an upgraded graphics card showing it. If they had an actual PC on the stage with the graphics card hooked up to a monitor, that would have been fine. But since they just showed the trailer by itself, that doesn't really sell me at the moment.
Yeah, so I wrote some quick notes down about it. Basically, it was Yahoo Esports. They went straight into hyping up Polaris, and it seemed just like an AMD circle jerk, because they were like, oh, we're doing game-ready games, and we've got Polaris, and blah, 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 and jerk. So it was like, okay, great. And then they decided to do this Doom presentation, and it was 45 seconds of pointless commentary from two of the Doom developers, and it was all pre-recorded gameplay footage. So it was like, this doesn't show us anything. So I was disappointed with that, but I'm glad that they brought out hardware to the stage. Being a PC guy, I'm glad to see the hardware. She said that Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, said that the 84% of the PC gaming market falls in the $100 to $300 US price point. So with Polaris, that's what they're targeting. So they said the RX 480 was going to be their premium VR device at $199 and up US. This is all US dollars. And then the RX 470 was they were targeting at the performance per watt experience. So they wanted to give you more performance at a lower wattage usage, which was an odd middle of the ground to go with, considering the next card was the RX 460, which they said is specifically going to be focused on esports, and it only is going to use 75 watts of power, which means no 6-pin power adapters. Hooray, because that means, God willing, we will have some slim form factor cards to put in these tiny PC gaming rigs.
Well, if you actually, I got a picture of the RX 460 up at the moment, and like the one she's holding, it doesn't really look that slim to me. Like she holds it like in her hand, like, but she's like has a wide grip on it with one hand. So, but the thing is, it's 75 watts, but which is great. Which for like League of Legends, StarCraft, Dota, and all of them, like they're more or less demanding than like your AAA titles. Because they don't really need like the graphics to like high-end graphics to be all pretty and nice and to work.
Right. I think what I was going is that when I say slim, I mean like one of these half-height cards. Like what she held up in her hand was a full-height PCI Express graphics card. But you can they have the most powerful one that they have out currently is NVIDIA's GTX 750 Ti, which is their titanium version. Which is, for today, it's still a fairly powerful card, but it's 2.5 years old. So we need something newer. And so what I'm hoping is that with this card being a 75-watt card, that power can come across the PCI Express bus without any additional power connectors needed. So I'm hoping that the board partners will basically cut that card in half so we can stick it in the slimline computers to have, console-like PCs.
The mini TX consoles and cases. Right. One thing I also want to say about the AMD, they brought out a VR backpack.
That's what I was going to say next.
Which was running off a RX 480 and had all the PC hardware inside, and it was hooked up. Was it to a Vive or Oculus?
That looked like an Oculus to me, but I don't know them like by heart. I can't look at them and tell you by a quick glance.
That's right. I mean, that looked cool and all, but if it could track your movements as well, like with the current VR setups, like they don't track movement. That's why I'm really hoping for the next gen of VR, like they would help you like track your movement. Like I'm wondering like how long will the batteries last, and can we play other games with it? Like, can we just use it as a normal PC? Like, take off the back part bit and like set up on the desk when we don't want to do VR. Like,
sure. I mean, HTC Vive has the best VR experience right now. Seems to be the consensus because it does allow you to move around within a predefined space. Which struck me about this backpack that I saw is that it is so tiny. I mean, not 2 weeks ago at Computex, they were showing off the NVIDIA backpacks for VR, and they are so friggin' big. I mean, they're huge, and this thing was super slim.
I want to say that's a concept at the moment. Like, that wasn't the full thing. That was just a shell. Like, if that's concept, like, that's what they need to do when they're showing off PC gear. Like, if they're showing off this, they need to, like, see if they could open it up and show us, like all the hardware in there. And maybe, like, even if they had a capture system, like, to see what she's seeing at the moment, like she wasn't actually wearing it. She was just wearing it on top of her head. Like, she was more like a fashion model than, like, a gaming, like showing off how to play the game or whatever. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you want to see from the PC game show. I mean, what caught my attention is that it has the Alienware logo on the side of the backpack, which I was like, that's sweet. Maybe Alienware is going to do something with VR. I mean, they like to, that is a company who, as a person who's a fan of Alienware, that's a company who does like to push the gaming edge.
But owned by Dell.
Yeah, owned by Dell, which, since Michael Dell bought his company back, is doing fantastic. But, you know, we saw nothing for the PC gaming part of it. It was just like, oh, look, there's a backpack, and we're going to tell you that everything's inside that backpack, and you're going to have to believe us. I mean, it looked really slim for what it was.
Yeah. I mean, also, when they announced that, they brought out the developers from Crow Team, who developed the Series Sam games, and they announced, which got leaked, I will say, it got leaked, Series Sam VR. Series Sam in VR, I've never played the Series Sam games, so I don't know what to expect from them, other than, like, a few Let's Plays I've seen, and it seems to be, like, a shoot-em-up, like, horde shoot-em-up kind of thing. I mean, but not my cup of tea.
Nah, same here. Never been one for Series Sam myself.
And also, during that, they had the fabulous quote, "We have two eyes, shouldn't we have two graphics cards?" Talking about the backpack. I'm like, yeah, but does that mean we also need two CPUs, two set power supplies? Why not just double everything? I mean,
I guess my assumption on that part would be that they would have, because they've done this before in the past, but AMD and NVIDIA have made a single card with two actual separate graphics processors on them. So it's not impossible to see them, you know. Besides, in addition, I assume since Zen is going to be their next big enthusiast part and their next whole computing architecture, that having a single CPU will be more than enough, which Lisa Su did talk about. And they've got their first enthusiast Zen component is going to come out later this year. It's an 8-core CPU that's hyper-threaded to 16 cores, which is excellent.
16 threads, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy for AMD. I'm glad that they have finally got the hyper-threaded thing figured out, because Intel has just been spanking that ass for years now.
Pretty much, I want to say, the theme for this year's E3 is VR. I mean,
absolutely.
If you look back at all the conferences, like, I think for the exception of EA, it's pretty much every single conference has had a section about VR, or announcing that they're developing for VR. I mean, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, well, the AMD, you know, is going to make direct profits from selling graphics cards and CPUs targeted towards the VR community. I mean, they've got their, in the current generation of console hardware, they've got their APUs that are built into them, so they're making money from that, but it's more of a licensing deal, I think, than a direct sales deal. So money's in the retail market, and that's where they're going to push it, obviously. So I don't blame them.
No, I don't, but actually, did you see the pre-show for the PC gaming show?
No, I'm afraid not. I was at work, and so I just wasn't able to totally watch it, I'm afraid.
I just want to go off rail a bit, but
go ahead.
In the pre-show they had the editor for PC Gamer come out, and they had this competition called Steam Speedrun, which I really want to see actually happen. So they brought out a person who won a competition or whatever, and they brought him up on stage, and they got him to open the browser version of Steam, and they had 3 minutes to get as many items in their cart as they can, and PC Gamer would pay for the whole thing. I think she ended up getting like about 20 games, but like really good games like Fallout 4, like pretty much all the major games.
Yeah.
But it was just so awkward. Like, seriously, like, the only thing that probably could have saved this PC gaming show, is if they announced Half-Life 3. Could you imagine what would have happened if they announced that?
Right. They didn't. I mean, that would have gotten a bunch of hype, but unfortunately that wasn't the way it worked out for us. Instead, they announced something like Vampire, which I was very meh about.
Vampire?
Even
I don't remember what that one was.
Yeah, even the guy playing the demo wasn't very good at it. He kept like screwing up little combos. So it was like, man, this is not sold on this game in the least.
Yeah. But one game I do want to actually talk about is Observer.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, which is a cyberpunk horror game from the Layers of Fears devs. If you don't know what Layers of Fear is, it's actually a really good horror game which came out in the last couple of months. If you haven't seen it, go watch the Achievement Hunter playthrough or James Williams' playthrough with Elise on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but this actually looks really good. Like they showed a teaser first, and then they brought out the developer, and he asked the host one question which I really liked, and he's like, "Okay, what would you do if somebody hacked your fears?" Like that's which I thought was a really good idea. Like for like what kind of game it was. It's somebody like you're set in the future or cyberpunk or whatever, and you're part of a member of a special police unit that hacks minds and memories. So I'm guessing somebody hacks into your memories and mind and gets your fears, and then you're running through trying to disconnect everybody. But yeah, it looks like a really, really good game, which I'm really looking forward to.
I personally love the concept of it because I'm not really big on horror games. They typically just don't scare me. However, I love cyberpunk as a genre, and I am an absolute whore for science fiction. So I bought it. I was like, cyberpunk horror, I'm sold, buying it. So I'm really want to see more about it first. But the two trailers that they showed, the little teaser and then the kind of the gameplay footage trailer, both were very good. And like I said, I'm buying the idea of it. Love it.
Yeah. That's.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, no, I was about to say, it's like, that was pretty much all for the interesting games, like, for me. Oh, other than one which they showed at the very start, which you missed, Jim, which was Dawn of War 3. Now,
I'm a big Dawn of War fan, so I need to go watch this, because you're right, I totally screwed up by missing this. I want to see more about this game.
Yeah, like, they showed gameplay, which I was so happy about. Which they showed off like the camera mode, and then they showed off different units. But it's also combining the styles of Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2 with a bit more Dawn of War 2. But no, they showed off a trailer which really looked really good. Really sold me out, which always opens with the greatest catchphrase. While the enemies of the Empire shall take breath, there shall be no peace. And then well, mind you, the footage that they showed was pre-alpha, so maybe we'll have more in the coming months. I mean,
yeah, well, they're going to polish it.
I'm really looking forward to this one. Oh, yeah. But, alright, with the pre-alpha, it looks so good.
Yeah, I'll have to absolutely check that out. I mean, somebody who myself has been a long time Dawn of War fan, I was never much for the actual Warhammer 40,000 like board game, but the PC games have been... Huh?
Yeah. Like the miniatures game.
Yeah, that was never my thing, but the PC games I've loved from start to finish. So that's great to hear. Did you want to talk more about Killing Floor 2? I've got that in my notes, but I don't really I'm not a Killing Floor person, so it's all kind of like mad to me, but if you've got an excitement for it, let's hear it.
Not really. It's been out in early access for a while now. Only really thing that I was kind of interested in was the VR that they announced for it, Killing Floor Incursion. Like, I've never been really much of a Killing Floor fan, so...
One game franchise, I heard about this a while back, I think it was at GDC, it was Tyranny, which I kind of love the idea of, where Evil won, they took over the world, and now you are one of the... I guess a lieutenant of the evil overlord, and you get the job of doling out justice and keeping society in line under your new evil overlord.
I mean, it's like a really good concept. Like, they didn't really show gameplay, which I really didn't like. I was really hoping for, but no. But you know, again, we'll see in a couple of months. Hopefully, what's the next one? Gamescom should be the next big games on over in Germany, so hopefully we actually get to see some more stuff from these guys.
Yeah, well, that'll be the developers, Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA, I'm sure. So we'll definitely get more PC action from them. They mentioned a game called Drop Zone, which is a 1 versus 1 real-time strategy game, and that was kind of all I got out of it. There was nothing about it that struck me as interesting beyond that. The Turing Test looked interesting because it's almost like a puzzle-style first-person puzzle game, and it kind of has that same feel to it, but they said Square Enix is involved with development, which builds excitement because Square Enix has done some fantastic work over the years.
Like, it's set on Europa, but then again, like what sort of style is it going to go for? Is it going to go for like the really hard puzzler, like Portal, or maybe like the Talos Principle? You know, we got to see whether it has like original ideas or whether it just borrows from like some other games. I just got to see more to get like more hype for these games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they gave very short time slots to pretty much everybody that went up on stage for them. Yeah, unfortunately,
like, for some reason, this whole like event seemed rushed to me. Like, I don't know whether you felt it, but it seemed like rushed to me. Like they were trying to get through everybody, like probably trying to get people to show people everything before they left for the Ubisoft presentation.
It felt to me like somebody at AMD was like, okay, let's get as many developers in here to talk about their games running on AMD hardware as we possibly can. And then they got way more people than they thought, and they wouldn't tell anybody no, just in case. And so they were kind of like, all right, everybody gets 90 seconds, go.
That was pretty much like all of the new games that are coming out. Like the rest of the show, like in between like new games, it was just like updates to current games. Updates to Warframe with adding a new arena sport with their new update. Or Arma 3's Apex expansion, or the Arcs expansion, but they have a dinosaur so big you can build a base on his back, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, the last thing I saw that had some passing interest for me was Dual Universe, which when I saw it, I immediately thought, this looks like a No Man's Sky competitor, which is probably good. Let's just hope it's not delayed for 4 years, like No Man's Sky has been. I feel like No Man's Sky has kind of shot its wad.
I don't know, seeing from the pictures that I'm seeing, it could be good, but again, it was just a teaser showing. I mean, and it's also an MMO, whereas I think No Man's Sky, I don't think that's an MMO. Is it an MMO?
It's a space sci-fi MMO.
But again, it's also a pre-alpha, and they said they were hoping to have a playable alpha in early 2017. I mean, like, most of the stuff they were showing was pre-alpha, which I thought was like, yeah, that's alright for announcing games. But some of these games were announced before. And like, I think a year or so before. And there was still, like, pre-alpha footage, which I don't know, but for me, as an ex-game developer, like, that's just, like, not... Like, seeing what I was used to, that's not what should have happened, but... Oh, well. Better luck next year, PC Gamer.
Yep, that's right. Next year. Hopefully they'll get their shit together and do something interesting.
Yeah. Get supported by NVIDIA.
Yeah, right. NVIDIA's making all the money. They don't have to do game shows.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. That's all the notes I've got on the PC Gaming Show. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
All of a sudden I feel like buying AMD CPUs and GPUs. I don't know. I'll be back.
Well, that makes one of us.
Nah, the video for life.
All right, kids. Well, thanks for listening in to us. That's our reactions to the AMD E3 2016 announcements, and we are going to be doing more shows, so check those out as well. We appreciate you, and with that, that's all I've got, so have a good one.
See yas.